Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about a few gig stories by Bike Wizard. So one of my subscribers ended up emailing me about a few things that have been happening in this area. Bike Wizard, thank you so much for emailing me about this and making this video possible.
I don't think that's funny at all, I'm sorry.
So with that said, I want to go over everything that is being said in this email, how it actually is for gig workers, restaurants, customers, all of the parties involved, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. Hey, I deliver by bike. Some stories from the last few weeks might make for interesting episodes. I gotta tell you a quick thing first. I have a very high respect for those who deliver by bike. It's amazing to me how some of these people, regardless of the weather, they will get deliveries done by either bike or Vespa or whatever. Bike specifically is pretty awesome because you guys are putting in a lot of physical exercise there, to say the least. Somebody who's been really blowing up on Instagram and TikTok is somebody known as Biking DC, where he actually does Uber Eats by bike, and the way he does his videos is outstanding. Like, honestly, I genuinely want to learn how to edit like he does because his work is excellent. I gotta get new equipment yet, but I definitely would consider editing like him. In my city, restaurants now ask you to confirm the pickup before they give you the food. That's not acceptable. My job includes confirming the order, not just delivering it. If there is a mistake, it is my ass on the line, not the restaurant. What are your thoughts on that? It depends on which app you're talking about. On Uber Eats, in my area specifically, they actually separated the two functions between starting the delivery and confirming that you received the order. That way, when restaurants ask that question, you could actually just make sure that it's everything, that you're sure, and then you could be like, okay, now I could say yes. But there are rules I have with that. Before I even say I have the order, they have to have everything packed up, and I mean everything. None of this, I'll bag it as soon as you confirm the order. That actually happened near me. That was a steak shop and deli out here. The lady was absolutely atrocious. Not say that you gave me the right order, and then when I get all the way out to my car, confirm that I'm leaving, then you chase me out to my car and say, hey, we made a mistake, we gave you the wrong order, and then you gaslight me into thinking it was my fault. No. That's wrong. That is 100% on you. If you have to chase me out to the parking lot at all, that means you didn't confirm it's everything. That's your fault as a restaurant. And if they choose to rate you badly because you maintained your level of self-respect, and you do see that on Uber Eats specifically, then you go on to Yelp and you make sure that you can rate them just as hard. Remember, your ratings, you can work them off over time. Their ratings, not so much. Grubhub, similar. You have the say you received the order, and then there's the leaving screen, which they're fine. I don't know if Doordash started implementing that yet, but they really need to. I don't know why they're so behind in that way, but really up to you. It depends on the app you're working on, and if they have a problem with you standing up for yourself, that's fine. You just don't work with them anymore. Restaurants that gaslight you with, we are packing your order, it will be ready in 2 minutes. And then repeat that over and over again a dozen times. Of course, I block them from future orders, but there's another problem. There's no cost to their lies. The cost is all mine. Those places are notoriously terrible. And there are specific restaurants that are very bad about this. Benihana, I have to be on their butt in order for them to do the basic tasks of their job. And the fact that I need to report them to Grubhub and apps like that is pretty sad in itself. PF Chang's is particularly bad, but they've been getting better, so I can't really argue with them. Red Lobster was horrible about this. They say, oh, I'll go back and check on it, go in the back, and then they're doing puff puff with the good stuff. You know what I'm saying? 4 or 5 people would do that exact same thing, and then I can almost smell it from the freaking lobby. And then you wonder why you're even waiting in the first place. You have to contact a manager, and then they'll all come out saying, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. And they're doing that specifically to basically screw with you. So again, that's where I whip out Yelp. Write a review about them. If the problem is continuous and it gets up to the management level, it gets up to the district management, the regional management, whatever, they're gonna start noticing. There is a cost. It's just the cost has to be a compilation of a lot of things instead of just the individual.
It is simply a matter of time.
How do you deal with building concierges who treat you like S? They are often temps hired by some security company, so I can't fault the whole building for it and then refuse to deliver there. But for some people who achieved nothing in their lives and are glorified seat warmers posing as security while on the edge of retirement, it seems to be some opportunity to feel powerful at someone's expense. I once said to one, you may think I'm the a-hole here, but after I leave the anus of the building, we'll be stinking up the place. You know, I know you're right, but that's a good way to get reported too, so I would be a little bit more careful with your words. There are some that are really good at their jobs, and they absolutely do what they can to make sure the building as a whole is great. Some of them are nightmare people to work with. I remember having a problem with one security guard in building 1, let's say, and she was literally trying to impose some arbitrary sense of authority for the sake of putting out some arbitrary sense of authority, right? I reported that person and I never saw her in that particular building again. And I also made sure the customer knew that the security guard was actually abusive and that she shouldn't work there. And again, she never worked there again. And then not too long after, I think a week and a half, I go to another building where I'm parking my car and driving in, right? Let's call this building Building 2. I'm driving into the garage at the speed of a semi-release brake, because what you got to do is actually you got to go down through the garage, up the elevator, drop it off to the person, come down, go back to your car and leave, right? She comes out to my car. Yes, that security guard that was in building 1 that got fired went into this building, had an absolute fit at me, told me I was driving too fast. I was driving less than 10 miles an hour, and she was the one freaking out. Like, it's amazing to me how some of these security guards are absolute trash in every way, and less than none of them can do their jobs. By the way, she doesn't work in building 2 either. She was actually released, and they apologized to me again later on. Now, how do I deal with that? Typically, I try to report it to whoever I can. All of these security companies may not be that great as a whole, but sometimes you can make reports with the customers and the people who operate in the building, and they will actually attend to the overall problem. Now, that also said, you can't really put that on all security guards. I feel like there are some that are really good, and I've made relationships with them, and they've been overall mellow as a whole. They understand us, they understand customers, they understand to a certain degree. But then there are some that are absolute trash, and I 100% agree with you. Sometimes you can make a rapport with the customer, sometimes you just have to block the customer as a whole, and if they choose to operate that way with you, then you can't work with them, period. But at least around here, they've been pretty good about disciplining those who choose not to do their job. If you guys also want to email me about something that's been happening in your area in the gig economy, my email is drivenwyld@gmail.com. I will leave that into the description. Feel free to email me whatever you want. I can't guarantee it'll be a video, but I can guarantee I'm reading them. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.